Hi, everybody. I decided I would share a little bit of my story and maybe answer questions that I'm assuming all of you have, or some of you have, especially if you haven't talked to me about this before. You might wonder why in the world I post what I do or I share what I share in support of LGBTQ people. And maybe you're wondering, is she in the closet? Does it apply to her? Well, I identify as a cisgender woman. That means I was assigned female at birth. I feel like a female. I identify with being female, and I'm straight. And so I'm attracted to men. So in that way, LGBTQ doesn't apply to me. But it does apply to me because from childhood, I've been aware that it exists. And as I've gotten older and become a teacher and become a mom, I see that there's LGBTQ kids and people and adults everywhere. They're in our hallways. They're in our homes. And they matter. And we live in a culture, in a world where we really like to pretend they don't exist, especially in religious or Christian circles. And to me, yes, I'm a Christian. I identify as a Christian. And to me, supporting LGBTQ people is a part of my Christian identity. It's not in contrast to it or contrary to it. It's a part of it. To me, being a Christian means that I support the people that God has created. And it's just not up for debate. It's not. So let's go back. Where did I become passionate about it? In university, probably my second year of university. I distinctly remember having questions. We talked about it in our classes. I went to the King's University in Edmonton, so Christian liberal arts university. And I remember going for a walk by myself at one point while I was in university and checking in with myself. At that point, I was single. I wished to be married. I looked forward to being married and having a family of my own. So that wasn't up for debate for me. But as I walked, I asked myself questions, and I just checked in with myself. How would I feel if I identified as LGBTQ? And maybe that question actually came from my brother jokingly saying to me when I was single, oh, maybe you're gay. Maybe you're single because you're gay. And I was like, well, I'm not, but that's fine. Maybe that spurred on that question to me, what if I was? And I remember thinking I would be crapping my pants because I know how this world is. I would be terrified if I identified as LGBTQ. And there's something about that that's wrong. Well, there's a lot about that that's wrong. And I remember also thinking, if I was LGBTQ, I would still be wonderful. I'm not perfect, of course. I'm not, but I would be a wonderful creation of God. That, it was so clear to me. So I did grow up in a family that was open about LGBTQ people. And they weren't affirming necessarily outright, but definitely made it clear, LGBTQ people are human. They don't have horns growing out of their head, and they aren't evil and they aren't some kind of monster. They're human. And once you find out they're LGBTQ, they're still that same person. So that was a message I grew up with as a kid. So it's not like I was unfamiliar with LGBTQ issues, but I became passionate about it when I was in university. And I distinctly remember that walk by myself, and I just knew, like, if I was LGBTQ, I'd be okay. I'd still be me, and I'd be scared, and that's not okay. So since then, I've had so many conversations with people that agree with me or that strongly disagree with me. And I've learned to not debate because I'll get nowhere. So this isn't for debate. This is just to share why I post what I post and why I think what I think. So over the years, I've done a ton of research. Like, okay, so if I feel this way and I believe if I was LGBTQ, I would matter, and it would be me, nothing would change. Is it justified? Well, if you dig, there's a ton of Christian theological views that verify that, yeah, it is okay. And yes, you can find many Christian views that would say, no, it's not. God created Adam and Eve. Boom, done. So we get what we want out of the Bible. We see what we see of what the world. And that's just the way it is. In my opinion, yeah, God created Adam and Eve. But also he didn't stop there. He didn't stop with one skin color. He didn't stop with one talent or gift. He created people with multitudes of gifts and talents and skin colors and gender identities and sexual identities and attraction. He created Adam and Eve and everybody else in between. He didn't stop there. So to me, being LGBTQ affirming isn't contrary to the Bible. And I won't debate people that want to try to tell me that it is, because I've read it all. And if you care to, you can read plenty that justifies why God did create LGBTQ people and why they deserve to live a life as full and loving, full of love, as we do, as anybody that identifies as cis, gendered, and straight. I have often wondered, why do I care so much? Like, if it doesn't apply to me, why do I care? Maybe a part of it is that I'm an Enneagram 2. Relationships mean the most to me. People are incredible. I'm in awe of people. So maybe that is why I'm so passionate about it. I've wondered, like, maybe one of my kids will be gay or trans or identify as LGBTQ. That's yet to be discovered. I wondered, like, maybe somebody in my life will be, and yeah, I've met people and they're amazing and they matter, and I will forever do my best to be a champion for them. And to me, it's really sad that we need to still stand up and be an advocate for LGBTQ people. And it's a reality, because we are in a world that loves black and white and binaries, and it's either this or it's that, or you're this or you're that, or it's this way or it's that. And the world is so much bigger, bolder, brighter, better, and more diverse than that. So if you ever want to talk to me about it, I'm open to talk. I am not open to debate. So that's that. It is a passion of mine. I believe God has put it on my heart, and maybe I'm still discovering why. But I'll continue sharing stuff as I see it and see it for the importance that it is. and to share the message that everybody matters. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.